Well, we have objectives to the goals, and so what I'm going to ask the council members, the pastoral council members, is to take very seriously these comments that we heard tonight. We will again collate them, and to see, okay, how does it compare to the objectives that we had and the conversations that we had toward each of these. So I guess that's what we're going. That's the next step in my estimation is how do these relate to the objectives? Do we need to make some adjustments to the objectives that we have? Obviously, the reverence point struck a nerve. I was curious. No one commented on enhancing ministries. You know, that was one of the goals, and I don't think I heard one explicit comment on enhancing the ministry. So that's got my curiosity up too. You know, a lot of people talk about the reverence, and no one mentioned enhancing ministries. Any comments there?
I did have something to say about that, though.
Sure. That's what I'm waiting for.
I think, for instance, in the group that I'm mostly involved with, the boosters, and we're new, I'd like to see maybe some mentorship or mentoring, how we organize and that kind of thing. I don't know from him. If I knew, I'd be knocking on the door.
Thank you. Tim.
Yeah, my name is Jim Bond. I'm sure some of you know me, but not all of you. I'm the head usher at the 845 Mass. I've been ushering here since I came here 20 years ago. And we've had some changes with Father coming in. He wanted things done differently, so I was fine with that. I told him, I said, I'll work with you. If I'm not happy with it, I'll let you know. And there are some things that I'm not happy with. Other people in other areas come in and move our stuff and don't let us know anything about it. And I have ushers coming to me saying, where is our stuff? And I don't know. If somebody wants to move our stuff, I would like it if they would at least come to the head usher and let him know so he can let the rest of us know. But I don't mind changing things if it's for the better. But when they come in and just move stuff and don't say anything, it sort of upsets us. So that's my comment.
Okay. We'll talk.
Comment, and I'm in the minority here, from what I'm hearing. And I have to say, and Roy can attest to this, I'm a come at the last minute person. So but and like Kay said, I've been in other churches too where I've seen people talking, conversing. To me, that's community. That's, oh, I haven't seen you since last Sunday. How are you? You know, this kind of thing. And so I have a hard time with this. To me, that intensifies the joyfulness and the community of a church. Yet, if someone's coming to church and wants to do some silent meditation before church, then that can be a hindrance. So I don't know what the answer is to that. Whether it is at the 7 a.m. Mass, you know, you can come and nobody's talking because they're still half asleep, and I can say my prayers before, but if you come to this Mass, you're going to have that. And so I don't know. I like the camaraderie. And maybe, certainly, you see it more after Mass, but I wanted to put that in there so that you can't say, hey, 100% of the people said there's no talking before church.
Thank you.
So.
Thank you. Glad you spoke up.
I'd like to speak to that, okay? I think in the sanctuary of the church, that's where the silence should be honored, okay? And I like the social part of it too, okay? That's why I come, you know, I enjoy the social part, but when I do the social part, I say either before Mass outside in the mall area or after the Mass in the mall area. But during Mass, I try to give my full attention, okay, to the Eucharist, you know, to the altar. You know, to the house of worship. So I think I want to make that clarification. The sanctuary, I think silence is the code. And I like the social too, because I like that after Mass and so forth. I come back, have a cup of coffee and see who I know and just say hi and so forth. But I think that distinction has to be made, and I want to make that distinction.
Okay, and I just want to say, I'm not talking about during the liturgy. I was just talking about before. Yeah, I've seen people playing games, you know, during the mass, and it's like, are you serious? So,
Well, maybe something that can solve the problem is some type of a visible, see-through barrier, like glass doors across that entryway, that when you go through the glass doors, you're in the sanctuary, you don't speak. Back here, you have all the place to speak. It might cost a little money, but I've been in a few churches that have done that. It works out really well.
Doubles as a cry room if I was needed on.
Mike, thank you.
And I guess I could say that I've been in a number of parishes that have had that same sort of separation or barrier installed. First of all, Father, I just want to congratulate you and the Pastoral Council for taking on this, because this strategic planning, determining a mission and goals and objectives is usually something someone would rather put off until after they have their root canal, or maybe just do the root canal and forget. But I commend you and all the Pastoral Council members for taking this on. And of course, there are staff members that are going to, you know, be given certain responsibilities and action items and so forth. That's what goals and objectives provide. And out of this, I think, you know, that there's been some very positive things said about Sacred Heart, and I would like to just really build upon those positive things in that I've had the good fortune in the fact that I'm in this diaconate formation process over the last 3+ years now, and winding down, hopefully, to ordination, but to be in the parishes, actually all 3 parishes in the region, and specifically at Sacred Heart. This is my home, our home parish, and I do work with Father Art quite a lot since he came here as pastor. And if you come through Sacred Heart virtually any day, you're going to see quite a bit of activity. You don't have to go very far to find stuff going on. There is so much happening. And I want to say that these 8 goals, I commend you and the Pastoral Council for identifying them as well, because where I come from and the work that I've done in business and in community development types of things, there's a book written by a gentleman by the name of Jim Collins called Good to Great. And that's what I think this process is about, is taking something good and becoming great. And that's what all these goals are saying. They're saying, how can we be that model for discernment? How can we be that place for education and doctrine, stewardship, all of these? Enhance social justice, one of my passions. So I commend you for that, and there's a lot of work to do from this point. I would just like to say on enhancing social justice, we have been doing we've provided back in December, and we're still working forward on a project. But back in December, we provided some open houses for our parish community to come to the gym and learn about what the church teaches on immigration, on the immigrant, and the dignity of the human person, and respect for all life. And we talked at every Mass, and we had the information in the bulletins and special flyers and everything. And I don't know, we still didn't get a huge turnout. There were some of you that were there, and I thank you for that. But that just means that's a goal that we still need to work on and keep on enhancing and keep on building. And just so you know, October 15th, we're set to have here at Sacred Heart the first Citizenship Day for Northern Arizona. So that is really going to enhance our social justice piece. So these things, every one of these 8 goals is going to have a whole lot of things in them that are going to take a lot of work. And Father and various staff members, Pastoral Council members, and maybe some of you are going to make those things happen, but I want to just say thank you for that work. And I invite people to join us in the Citizenship Day effort, too, as we move further along in that.
Thank you. Yes.
Well, you know, sometimes you sit here and or you're sitting in church and something that's said hits you. You feel that somebody is talking right to you. You're sure it's the one. Rudy, you're talking right to me. I am the guy who incites at 5:15 a lack of quiet on the left-hand side of that sanctuary. And in support of the statement here, I'm doing it as a relaxing, enjoyable part of the activity, not as a separate thing. However, I realize that it's community and it probably shouldn't be shared with those people who are not interested in some of the disruption. And it doesn't always happen because we have a little baby with us. I am exactly the same when we don't have the child with us. So in the short term, since I'm the insider over there, I can probably slow some of that down. I shouldn't say probably, I'm sure I can slow all of it. Because I can be pretty unpleasant about the thing, but I need to be more aware of the community nature of that. On the other hand, I am likely to stop and talk to Steve Byers in the sanctuary as one of the ushers 30 minutes prior to Mass. I'm not trying to set limits on it, but I'm saying there is a balance here. If I got direction and I had a sign up there and it said, please observe this and keep this sacred for others, I can say I'd be very quiet. But I tend to think of it as a community activity, and that it's not lighthearted, it's simply conversational and part of my experience, but not yours, or not somebody else's. I'm not singling you out. But I felt when you were saying it, and also I thought, you know what, you're hitting me right between the eyes, because I'm the guy. So anyhow, I can slow that down a little bit. So hopefully your experience...
We used to have a 10-minute rule. We used to have a 10-minute rule, 10 minutes before Mass. You know, the bell would ring and then no more conversation.
The music came on.
The music came on.
Bell don't work, he said.
Well,
Everyone, you know what?
if you educate people, it'll work.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Could you lead us to a prayer for those 4 missionaries that you have brought up in Somalia? We have to pray now still for that today.
I didn't hear about that.
I read an article the other day that said there are 2 directions for us as a sign of the cross. Personal holiness, going up to the Lord, and that's when we come into Mass. We're preparing ourselves for that personal holiness, and that's why we need silence to listen to God speak to us. We're not here to socialize with one another when we come to Mass. At the Mass, we're here to prepare ourselves. And in the olden days, we had 10 minutes. We tried to get in 10 minutes before Mass, not just as the priest was coming into the altar, to prepare ourselves. And I hate to think that we have to give up something to get something else. I'd like to think we can do both, to not have to give up, but to put together. And then, after our personal holiness is enhanced, we're supposed to evangelize. And I think Paul made a good observation. There's nothing here about evangelization. All the Catholics who have left the church and haven't come back, I think a concern of ours as a parish, and our young people who try as we might. We've tried to keep our children to carry the cross and keep the faith. And I know there's probably a lot of us here that have children and grandchildren that are not staying with the faith the way we hope they would. How are we addressing that? And those are the goals that I think as a parish should come first and foremost.
Okay, thank you, Dean. As I mentioned, I'm going to encourage the Pastoral Council to look at these comments to see how they relate to the goals and objectives that we're responsible for. So council members, please put that on your radar screen. Staff members who are here, also to consider again these goals and how, where the overlap is. Edie, I think you mentioned there's overlap, with these goals. It's true. All of these affect one another. So we don't really see these compartmentalized, but affecting one another. So there's I see a dynamism with these goals. So staff members, please be thinking about, okay, how does this work in your areas of responsibility? How does this play out? And then can there be connections made with the objectives? Thank you again. We're going to end with prayer, and if you want to stick around and talk more, talk to someone who maybe made a comment that captured your attention, touch base with them. Talk to Mike if you're interested in helping with that Citizenship Day. gets further clarification, but after the prayer, they stick around, have a cookie or two.
Would we have another time when we have like a meeting like this?
Would you like another time?
Well, I mean, like maybe 2 months' time or something when things are thought out a bit and maybe some changes made or.
Okay, we'll talk about that with Pastor Council, but we'll put that on the agenda. May Almighty God bless you, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Amen.
All right, folks, thanks for coming out. Stick around, meet a couple.